Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the first couple days of competitive and what people have been thinking, what has come out of the changes to competitive, the overall thought process that's gone behind creating teams and creating the atmosphere of team play that I currently see in competitive. So I'll start with what I initially experienced with the placement matches and how it differed from quick play. And so I want to start by saying that I'm obviously not the best player in the game. I'm not a high ranked player, but I would say I'm probably an average to slightly above average player. And so going into competitive mode, I looked at how can I best help the team. And I would assume that most other people were approaching it this way. I mean, you'd know that if you were an experienced player in the game, if you've seen any pro level matches, if you've observed any of the tournament scene, you know generally what the most consistent meta is right now. And so I definitely saw an uptick in going double support, double tank, and having a balanced mix of frontline, DPS, and flanker. That is not to say that everybody's had the same experience, but I would say that in my initial 10 placement matches, people were taking it seriously enough that we never had a lack of tanker support. We never had the double Widowmaker, double Hanzo thing that I've seen in quick play before. I didn't see that in my placement matches. It was interesting that people were talking more, there was more communication. Definitely people were taking it more seriously. In my experience, that's what I experienced in competitive, is that people were going for the more grounded, the more consistent win rate. So for the first 5 placement matches, I queued solo, and I generally were in games with 6 players of solo queue players. And this is where I saw the heightened competitive aspect, the heightened awareness of meta, and people really trying to fit into the Reinhardt Mercy. We had a Reinhardt Mercy in every single game I played in the first 5 games. Then I did the last 5 games as a group queue. I queued with a friend, and just out of curiosity, I wanted to see how things were changed, and they did slightly change. What was interesting is when I did group queue, I generally got grouped with other players that were group queued, which was good. It meant that other players were playing not at an uneven rate of grouped versus solo queues. So the second half of my competitive matches were generally against other people that were grouped, and you did see a slight change. People were going combo heroes more. I saw a lot of Pharah Mercy combos. Unfortunately, what you get in these particular matches sometimes is that players will be playing for their friend more than they play for the team. Mercy will stay in the air and babysit Pharah a little bit more than she generally would if it was a solo queue, I felt. These matches felt a little bit less about team play as a 6-player team and more about individual 2v2v2 matchups. It wasn't to say these games were less fun or less competitive overall, but there was definitely not as much of a cohesive feel to them. And there was less communication. And the reason that probably was happening is people were talking in their groups rather than talking in team chat. So from a strategy standpoint, I would say try to fill the meta game mechanics right now. That you want to make sure that you have that solid foundation of a Reinhardt Mercy. A solid second tank is always helpful, especially in payload maps. Having a good mix of somebody that's an expert with a flanker. Hopefully you get somebody like that on your team so that they can really go out there and harass to their maximum capabilities. And then it's always helpful in a lot of these maps to have that second support, that whether it's the Symmetra on defense on the first capture point for the teleporter, or it's Lucio helping out with the speed boost and giving the close compact teamwork, that overall AE heal. You definitely want to try to fit the meta as best you can. There's a reason the pros play this, and it's because they favor consistency over risk taking, and so that's what you're gonna find is going to overall over a long period of time is going to pay off more than kind of the crazy team makeups. Overall, this was just my general impression of competitive in my first 10 placement matches. I know that people have been running into a lot of problems with supports getting less skill rating and the coin flip is a big problem right now. But I think these are short-term problems. These are things that are going to get fixed, and they've already stated that they're going to change some things for Season 2, so I'm not going to go too much in detail about those things. Have fun and competitive, guys, and as always, I'll see you in game.